Dermavant Sciences CEO Todd Zavodnik shares why they're driven to change how chronic skin diseases are treated.
In dermatology, the two largest disease states are psoriasis and atopic dermatitis, known as eczema. And the option that's been available for the last 30, 40, 50 years has been steroidal topical treatment options. And there's so many limitations to that. Our mission is to move that to a non-steroidal once-a-day treatment option.
Visit dermavant.com to learn more.
Israel is 5,690 miles away from the U.S., 11 hours by plane. Hate travels faster. In a comment, in a post, in a second. Jewish hate is up 388% in the U.S. Black hate, Muslim hate, and Asian hate are up too. When one hate rises, they all do. Let's stand up to all hate together. Share and wear the blue square from standuptojewishhate.org.
What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I know that you are here to listen to the best humans on the planet to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Let's do this. So today I found a really special human for you, and her name is Lisa Joy, and she is an integrated movement specialist and a musician's performance coach. You heard that, guys? Oh my God. So exciting. Okay, so she draws upon her experience as a licensed massage therapist, a yoga teacher, and a personal trainer to guide students to make small shifts in their daily practices to heal their bodies. How freaking cool is that? And free their minds from pain. Oh, we got to get into all that. Okay, so we're going to talk to Lisa, and we're going to get into like, what does that mean, right, Lisa? But before we do all of this amazing stuff, because I know you have a lot to offer us, I loved our first conversation. So I'm really, really glad that we're here. And one way I like to start the show, and if you've listened to my show, you know this already. Who is Lisa Joy? Tell us who you are.
All right. Well, I'm grateful to have my name, Lisa Joy. My parents are pretty cool. They gave it to me. I'm a joy enthusiast. It's a good one. I'm a hydration enthusiast, and I'm a party person. So that's part of why I love the idea of being on your show. And what I think about and why I became a musician's performance coach is because music, which is oftentimes with a party, helps me to be present. It gives me the access to immediately be in the moment and to experience healing through that collective power and vibration. And that's basically what led me to be here today, and what I try to share and teach anyone who will really listen, and my students and clients for sure.
Yeah, you know, music is a powerful thing, right? So is this something that like you feel has been a part of your life, all of your life, or was it something that came about in your life because of necessity? You know, because to me, music is super powerful, right? And healing, and you know, cathartic, nostalgic. I mean, music is a lot of things, right? So I'm just wondering, was music something that was integrated into your life when you were younger, or is it something you discovered gave you joy throughout your life? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I love that you asked me if it's something from early time and also something by necessity, because I think the answer is yes to both. So definitely like pre-womb integration of music. And I think my favorite, and probably like my dad's favorite thing, was that in middle school, I was going through our record collection and I knew the words to songs that I didn't really realize that I had ever heard before. So yeah, like the idea that it's imprinted into my soul and into my being, all those good classic rock, early jam rock music. I always say that Jefferson Airplane Volunteers is basically the philosophy behind who I am today. So if y'all know that album, if you don't, check it out. There's a quote that I use even in my high school yearbook, which is, if you smile at me, you know I will understand, because that is something everybody everywhere does in the same language.
Right.
And the exchange of a smile, music, all of those things have a profound effect and an instant effect in the moment.
Yeah.
As far as necessity, uh, I used to be a rugby player back in another former
Ah,
version of myself,
cool.
and traveled all over the country playing rugby, and always, consider myself an athlete. Still do. But after I went to massage therapy school, I had stopped playing rugby. I was minorly injured enough times to take a break. I really missed music. I played the flute and guitar growing up. I was always surrounded by people playing music, hanging out, involved, playing music, being around music, playing the flute outside my front steps on the busy urban suburban street was
I
like
love
not
it.
an uncommon thing. And I really missed it. I was like pretty deep into the rugby world. And then I went to massage school, and I really needed some new friends and new social outlet. And I always have not liked cold weather. So I always came up with a plan every winter, like, how am I going to combat the winter this year? And so that year in 2016, I decided that I should go to live music for exercise. It was indoors. It would give me like 3 to 4 hours of moving my body. I could sweat, and like benefit, I could listen to music, maybe meet some
Right.
people. And so music came back into my life by proclaimed necessity.
Yeah. Yeah. Music, sound, right? The vibrations, all that kind of stuff, right? Throughout my life, it has been a lifesaver for me, right? So, being someone who had a lot of trauma, had a lot of childhood trauma. But when I think about the happy times, it's always connected to something that is musical. Like whether it's because I
Mm.
used to be a break dancer, right? So it's so fun, like to listen to R&B and hip hop music for me, and like break dance and stuff. I used to win competitions and all that kind of stuff. So it was really fun. But those are the moments, those bright moments in the midst of darkness, and when I think about music and moving your body and just the strength of that all, how cathartic and healing that all is. And it's interesting because that's what you put in your bio, right? That you are really helping people with shifting their experiences and healing their body. So why let me if I could touch a little if I could touch a little bit of personal stuff, right? Because nobody
Sure.
does this just because they woke up one day and decided to do this, right? So let's get into that. What's going on here, Lisa Joy? Because for somebody who really helps people like free their minds, which is what you say that you love to do with people, and to really help them to heal their body and to transcend that pain and all of that kind of stuff, that means that you might have had to experience some of that transcending of pain, that you had to free your mind, because that's usually how we end up impacting and doing this for others. Am I right about that?
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so I think for me, I have always been an embodied being. Like I always was in my body. I also was dancer, not break dancer, but like ballet, tap, jazz.
Oh, nice,
And
nice.
I really um, experience the world through my body. And so whenever I've had physical pain, which I've had plenty, right? I think it's just like the natural experience of living, right? We
Mm-hmm.
tend to hurt ourselves by accident,
Yeah.
oftentimes, but also sometimes through like repetitive use and not really paying attention
Yeah.
to what's really happening. And when we're injured, and I've, like I said, had some injuries, especially playing rugby and especially
Mm-hmm.
ballet dancing, um, like to heal, we have to really pay attention. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is actually happening? And I think that I realized that there were accidental experiences, but there were also like a lot of times where I wasn't really listening. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really paying attention. And as someone who's like battled even being depression or like self harm,
Yeah.
I finally kind of came to a point where I like really faced that maybe I was harming myself, and just like being neglectful and not paying attention, like no
Yeah.
longer became an excuse. And I think when people use their bodies for a living, like musicians do, like athletes that they are, um, we like ignore the truth of what's happening in the present moment. And yet what is necessary to
Mm-hmm.
play at that elite level, to be the best, is that you have to be completely present. And so there's this disconnect.
Right.
And for me, because music so deeply touches me, and it allows me to come into that space, it allows me to feel embodied, it allows me like an immediate avenue to experience what it is to like be and to move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I I really I have like a strong passion to help the people that help me. Um, and through that realization of presence and awareness, and this is what I talk about with making small shifts, like really paying attention and
Mm-hmm.
noticing what is the truth of what your actions are doing and how they make you
Mm-hmm.
feel and how they make others feel, but how they make you feel. um, that it's not hard actually to change any of the physical movements as often as it is just um, the work of being honest and being
Right.
truthful.
Right. So you're because what you're saying is that it's connected, right? That the mind, the body, the movement, all of that is connected, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
It's,
think that that's, something that is super powerful when you can pause to be self-aware. Because we all need to we really need to do that, right? So, and movement to me is is so special. Like when I do my coaching with my women, we breathe a lot in the beginning, right? Just to kind of like center ourselves and be good. But when I know that a topic that I'm talking about is very heavy, like inner childhood or forgiveness or shame, because those are the things I talk about. And when we talk about that, and I know it's getting too heavy, I'm like, all right, everybody up, let's go. And we might move around a little bit because it does, you have to release it from the body. You have to, because otherwise you can feel it, right? Like all of us can feel it. Everybody who's listening right now can feel tension. You can always feel the tension in your body when you're afraid, when you're stressed, when you're confused. Those things are real. So tell me about what you do with your clients. Like, because I know that you work with musicians, but I have the feeling you work with more than just musicians. So tell me a little bit about what your business model is and what it is you do with your clients.
yeah. So I think the first thing that I do with everyone is I have a conversation, where,
Oh, you
and
mean you
it,
don't just
and
get on the camera and just start moving?
No. I mean, you can go on YouTube and you can see a little bit of me doing that. But even there, I'm having a conversation with you. It's a little
Right.
one-sided because I'm talking. But um
I love
and
it.
I think that most people, and this is where like the body and the mind are not separate, is that most people within a few minutes reveal almost everything that's going on.
Mhm.
Some people are a little more guarded, they've had a lot more trauma, maybe they have like
Yeah.
more pieces, but people pretty much tell you right away, like what it is that is bothering them, why they're not doing the thing that they may know how to do in
Right.
order to help themselves. Um, and so I work with people to really get out of that headspace, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like most of where our pain gets trapped in our body is like through this experience of not being in our bodies. So it's through this mind raveling that happens. And so I work with people to assess and help them see like what is really happening and what do they
Right.
really feel, and then where is the fear that is wrapped around either uh, changing that,
Mhm.
eliminating it, failure or for like
Yeah.
fear of failure, of not being able to get themselves out of the situation, right? So it's like, it's like, it can be very, very layered. Um,
Yeah.
and so I work with people by listening to them. And I think, um, I kind of mentioned in the beginning where I really had to get honest and deep, where I was like, I had to listen to myself. And I think that a lot of times people don't know how to listen to themselves. They don't know how to even feel in their body, and
Yeah.
they don't know how to get out of their own head. So having a person to just be there with them, to hold space and allow them to exist in an
Yeah.
embodied way, in a way that is um, they're allowed to just be as they are, and then can start to experience what that is often the first step. And so I utilize, like, I love that you say you use breath work techniques and breathing and moving.
Yeah.
And I use a lot of different things, a lot of different tools, different types of breathing, different types of awareness,
Mm-hmm.
experiencing of the
Mm-hmm.
present moment. um, and then, a lot of times I can utilize music and rhythm, whether that's outward music or like internal development of rhythm through the breath or through the movement itself, to help people just like align to the present moment. And
That's
so,
good.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's good. That's good connection, right? Because one of the things is that the self-awareness piece, I think people are just afraid of what they'll find out about themselves. And I was talking to a client, and she was confessing to me or telling me that she does a lot of like smoking weed and does mushrooms and does like all of these different things, right? And so we were talking about that, and I was like, okay, why? And there was silence, and I'm like, you see, this is where you have to start getting into the why, because I'm not saying that it's wrong or good or whatever, that's on you, but I just want to know, because you keep telling me you don't want to do that. So if you're doing it, why? Right? So I do this thing where I do the 7 layers of why, because the first why is bullshit, right? So we have to get into the real nitty gritties. So it's like the little kids, like, but why, mommy? But why? But why? But why? But why? And I do that with myself as well, because for many, many years, I didn't have self-awareness. I just was the type of person who strapped on my boots and did the job. I had to get things done. I was a single mom. I had to take care of my kids, like that kind of thing. Self-awareness was just not in the cards, at least I thought. At that moment, I needed to survive, right? And when you
Yeah.
don't pause to ask yourself, or to at least tap into why you do certain things that you don't want to do, self-sabotaging behaviors, like all that kind of stuff, you're constantly hitting a wall, and that just disappoints you. You get upset with yourself, or you get disappointed with a situation or your life or whatever. And the truth is the answer lies within you. The answer lies within you, right? And 95% of our life is usually run by our subconscious mind anyway, right? So we have maybe 5% of a conscious mind that actually helps us make decisions. The other 95 is running our life. So if you don't have self-awareness, then you're allowing old programs, or programs that are maybe not serving you, to run your life, right? So I like that you caused the movement, because I know I've spoken to many friends of mine who are very much into a lot of movement and all of that, and they're always talking about energy being trapped in the body, right? And
Hmm.
how you have to release it. I don't know too much about that. I don't really get into that piece of it. But I know that it's been very effective for them. And I know that I have my, version of it, if you will, where I just get up and I'll go stretch, I'll walk, I'll do something to get, but I don't have the techniques for it, I do it differently than you do. But I love that you're doing that with your clients. So okay, so let's say a client sees the show, they want to know how to work with Lisa. Like, is there like do you work with people for a long period of time? Is it a one-off? Like, how does this look? How does this all look?
Yeah, great question. So It depends. I have a 6-month coaching program that
Great.
I
Great.
uh, think that's been sort of my long-standing way that I work with people. I think when we
Hmm.
talk about the layers, like you said, oh, the first why is bullshit.
Right.
Well, it could take like 2, 3 months to go through that first
It's so
layer
true.
section, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when people are in pain, the recovery process also it could just take
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
And then I really, when it comes to shifting your mindset and shifting your habits, I just have always, I mean, there's no doubt about it. You can have a moment in your life, and we probably all have moments in our lives where we're like, that was the moment that XYZ changed for me, right? And you can point to this thing and someone said something or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. And I think it's really cool. Like, I'll meet someone at a festival, I'll work with them, and they'll be like, come back to me 2 years later. Like, oh my gosh, the thing that you said about whatever with my shoulder, and like, I do it all the time. And this got so much better. And then I realized that, and you're like, amazing. What did I
Amazing.
say? Like, I
Right.
don't
Right. That
remember.
was 2 years
because
ago.
because because I was
Yeah.
present,
Yeah.
right? I was just like
Right.
listening to you in the
I love
moment, and
that.
then
Yeah.
boom, it happened. And yeah, so like, to make long lasting changes, to change like those patterns, those subconscious patterns that are ruling our lives, it just takes repetition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have found that accountability and having those meetings, whether they're one on one or in groups, really helps. So I
Yeah.
teach. I teach a weekly class. It's chair yoga class, and it's like another way that people work with me. I have a nice solid group of people that this is something I did pre-pandemic in person, and when the pandemic started, I just took this class online, and that's like another way. Like, I have these students that have been with me, they hang out with me for 45 minutes a week. It's the only time I see them. And like, that once a week experience has given them enough of a point, even if they don't make it, to change how they sit, how they hold their bodies, how they move their neck.
Right.
The philosophy of being present, of listening to themselves, that that is another way that I love working with people. It's like having that weekly class. And of course, before the pandemic, I used to teach like all over Washington DC and Maryland, and go all these places and teach all these classes. And what's nice now is like, I just have this nice once a week, and so that's a nice way that people can work with me. And then I have a membership for musicians specifically.
Oh,
So we
nice.
have a monthly live session, and it's all on demand videos, and everything is based on member requests. So people can submit their issues that are going on with them, whatever injuries or things that are happening on the road. And then I'll make content that's based on their.
Hey there, my amazing community of straight talkers. I just wanted to give a quick announcement because I wanted to introduce you to a transformative life coaching program that I have made exclusively for women. I want them to break free from shame and embrace their true potential so that they can build that life and business that they have always wanted. Now, our transformational coaching will guide you, we will help you, we will uncover your passion, your goals, and will develop your roadmap to success. Visit me at neenaperez.com and you can join an amazing community of women that are on the same trajectory as you, because I want you to create that life and business you deserve and transcend that shame and unwanted behaviors. So don't wait any longer. Visit neenaperez.com and let's embark on this journey together. Now back to the show.
Individual needs, and then we
Oh,
share it
wow.
across the platform for everyone, because pretty much, for the most part, as unique and wonderful and individual as we all are, mostly we go through the same things.
Very true.
Eventually.
That's very, very true.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
we're playing out the
Yeah.
same patterns. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I love that. I really love that you're doing that. And I know that you're doing a lot of it now, virtually, which I think is what's happened to all of us, right? With this kind of work, like, coaching, I used to have a group
coaching, but it was with women, and we would be all in a circle and stuff like that. But now I moved out of state. They all live in different states, but the group coaching still happens, but now virtually. And do you find it to be as effective? Like, do you find it to be just as effective you doing it virtually than in person? Do you enjoy it?
I love it. I think it's neat. I currently live overseas most of
Oh,
the
okay.
year, so I'm on a 7 hour to 10 hour time difference with the United States, and I think it's pretty awesome that I can,
Yeah.
create new connections on this side of the Atlantic and work with folks. I was definitely not sure about the physical aspect. I had been such a very hands-on coach, and I really get into the nitty-gritty and refinement of movement. And
Mm.
I have to say that I like pleasantly, so the first year of the pandemic, I just pleasantly surprised myself over and over and over again as I refined my postural assessment process and, I really took the time to dial in all these things that I had been doing, but codify them and create systems for them.
That's so great.
And yeah, I think it's great. I mean, we could really see quite a bit of detail, and I understand already how people move from probably from being in person over long
Mhm.
periods of time. Um, but yeah, people are very comfortable in their own space, and I
Yeah,
think they share a little bit more easily and freely. And I had done in-home
that makes
training, going to
sense.
people's yeah,
Mhm.
I'd gone to people's houses before, so I was really used to working with people in their environments. And so I think it's quite effective. I think it's like maybe more effective than going to a gym, let's say, or like a neutral, sterile location to do that sort of work um, because of the comfort that people feel in their own environments.
Yeah, that's very, very true. That's actually, yeah, that's a really nice way to actually think about it because it is true. We are comfortable in our own homes. Most of us are. So that's a really good way to look at it. And I like that your program is longer, I should say, than just like 3 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever. Because I think that one of the maybe not the great things of social media is that it shortened our attention span and it made us think that everything has to be so fast, and it doesn't. And even my program is 4 to 6 months. I think it's more like 6 months. But what I've noticed is that when I was first launching my program a while ago, I was like, oh, 3 months, 3 months. But the women were still in really a place of need and want of more. And then I'm like, wow, okay, so I really need to rethink the program and how I want to do it, because I thought the women wanted to get results and go. And I realized that no, actually, what they need is somebody to be there for them and be present. And to your point, be accountable, right? And somebody that they can rely on and who's as far as what they say to me, they're constant, right? They know I'm going
Mhm.
to be there. And that's very powerful, right? When you can be that for someone, when you can be that constant for someone, when their world is kind of upside down sometimes, or they're super busy, or they can't, manage so many things on their plate, but then they know when they go to see Lisa Joy on that day that they're gonna do body movement or whatever, that's their time, their day, their moment, right? And those things are important. They really, really are. I think that does a lot for our mental health, right? Do you agree with that?
I do. And it's interesting just listening to you talk about this, about being someone else's constant, because I think when I moved into this coaching space, I was like, oh, like, is this an opportunity for me to not have people be as reliant on me? And like, what is the emotional exchange um, to be that for someone and like do
Mhm.
what are my feelings about it? And this is like, interesting. You talked about like really getting in deep. And what I realized is that probably in like my first 5, 8 years of being a trainer, coach, and the first, especially when I started doing massage at the very beginning, I think I had still like more attachment. But the more that I've practiced and work with these techniques to be present, and the more that I understand that while I have an ego, and it's very nice to have all of our egos interact in this world space, that like at the end of the day, like in essence, we're all just love, and
Yeah,
that like I have this ability and I have the skill to teach people how to access the truth of being present, that I don't I I'm like able to be there without being attached. At the same
that's
time,
good.
I care and have empathy
Mm-hmm.
without attachment. And so, especially when the pandemic started, it was like so lonely and isolated. And of course,
Yeah.
like having my own emotional needs. And so, like unpacking all of this and having been like in that healer space and that coach space for a long time, um, I think it's really great, and I love that I've been able to center in on this component. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I had someone that I was helping out today, and it was like their finger is tingling and like what's really going on and what's happening, and they play the guitar and they're like losing grip and they feel things I love getting into like the deep work, but at the same time, right, we're still looking at like, well, how does this make you feel? And
Right.
like, oh, let's like look at your chest and let's look at your shoulder. Like, how tight is everything? And like, what's wrapped around this? So, um, being able to be present and like teaching and showing that person how they can be present and get out of their head and just start to assess, like, I move this way, it makes me feel this way.
Right.
I move
Right.
this way, it makes me feel this way. I can breathe and I can change how I feel in this moment. And like helping people work through that in their body, like when you say body movement, it is, but it's also really about being present and utilizing your brain and your mind
Mm-hmm.
as a tool,
Mm-hmm.
and not just like only living inside of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good and so necessary because we have gotten so used to swiping to the next thing that being present is a challenge. It is. It's a challenge not just for the youth, right? It's for adults too, because we've gotten used to the swiping thing, right? So as soon as you see a story, I mean, we've been desensitized, right? From being present, from trauma, from something that we're watching that it could be really hurtful for someone who's going through whatever we're watching, and we're on to the next story. And and I'm guilty of that too, right? I'll be reading something and swiping into the next story. And it is not human nature to be that way. It is not, right? We should be
Mm.
present. We should be around each other. This is why this is just my assessment, guys, just my assessment. This is why I think that mental health has risen so much because when the pandemic especially came, it separated humans and we are to be connected. We are to be supporting one another and loving on one another and uplifting each other up, and separation causes that anxiety, depression, that worry, that all of that stuff within us. And I feel like it's just not natural for us to swipe to the next story. I think what we're doing right now, Lisa, like this is important because being present for me is important. When I'm with this person, this is an important person for me. Like I just left my husband to come here, and when I came, I made sure that my husband and I were having dinner and speaking and looking at each other's eyes and making sure that we were enjoying each other's company for the moments that I had with him before I came to have my moments with you. Because the truth is I'm not promised tomorrow. And I say this all the time because I really mean it. We're not promised tomorrow. So this space and this time is the most important time to me because this is the only time I have right now. Right. And so I love that you're doing this, and I love that you are, pouring into other people this way. So I know that I have a lot of amazing people that listen to the show, a lot of really good humans. And so how do they work with you though, Lisa? Like, how do they connect with you? How do they talk to you about possibly being in your program, things like that? So give us all that nitty gritty.
Yeah, for sure. If someone is interested and ready, then they can book a call. It's pretty simple. I think you probably have the link for it here, but you can find it easily on the website. You can fill out a little bit of information about what's going on with you, give me like a little bit of framework, and then we hop on a call and we chat. We see what's happening. Um, Even within that call, people will leave with at least a few action steps should they want to take them to go forth. So always feel great about coming together and just meeting someone who's ready to take action or contemplating that they might be ready to take action, right? Sometimes
Right.
we've got to get through those layers.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it makes sense and it's a good fit, then we can embark into a program together. If they're a musician, like I said, they might want to go into the musician's membership. It might not be as easy to embark on a, weekly meeting, full
Right.
on,
Right.
whole, all the things taken apart and put back together for 6 months. So, like I said, there are some other avenues. If people want to just hang out, try it out. Like I said, the chair yoga class, it's always open. Again, easily found on our website, www.activepotential.com. And it is
I love it.
also, now that the pandemic is over-ish, half seas, sort of, I don't really know, post-pandemic world-ish going on, but there are opportunities to meet live. So if someone is interested in having me and our team come and work your event, whether that's to provide healing services or workshops,
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
virtual and in person, um, like we are doing that. And so we have a few this fall and we're looking towards the spring for booking with that. So if that is of interest to you, you want to bring it to your group or have a retreat, something along those lines, that is also possible. Same thing, book a call, let's chat,
Right.
get the conversation started. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Lisa Joy, for spending this time with me, for, pouring into my audience, for just being, real and authentic. And I love having conversations where, we can really talk about our views and sides of things, and also how we are trying to impact the world, right? How we're trying to help as many people as we can, however we can, right? So, thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you too. Thanks for hosting the space to dive in and really examine that the way that we think and have this be a source for people to then change their minds
Yeah,
uh, and
exactly.
change their actions.
Transform. That's it. Transform their thinking. That's right. Oh, you guys, see, I told you. Isn't she sweet? I knew you guys would love her. I knew you guys would love her. I'm going to make sure to put all of Lisa's information below so that you can go ahead and, contact her. Like she said, she will even work out with you, maybe doing some retreats and groups and things like that. So just make sure that you reach out to her for that, for the coaching, for you musicians out there, to see how you can join the membership and all that great stuff. Because when somebody's showing you who they are and they're coming authentically and they're coming to the table and they're being present, that's the type of people you want to work with, right? And everybody needs somebody to work with. I always say this and I mean it. You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times. Every coach needs a coach. Every person needs a person. Everybody needs somebody. Don't do this alone. You don't have to. You're not the only one going through it. I promise you that you didn't invent anything under the sun. We have all experienced life. So make sure you reach out to Lisa. I'm going to link all her information. I love you guys so much. Like, share, and subscribe, especially if you know someone who will benefit from this podcast. I love you guys so much. Talk to you soon. Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time. And so I'm going to hold this conversation in my heart for a very long time, Robert. And I want to thank you for that. I really do. So thank you for being on Straight Talk, and thank you for being with me.
You're very welcome. Can I make a request?
Sure.
Look, the last 15 months for me have been really difficult since the death of my son. I'm ambushed occasionally by anger and by sadness
Yes.
that I can't even describe. I never thought it would happen in my life. My former wife and I have set up a foundation to educate young people about the dangers of drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need money. We have that handled. But we need awareness. And he died by going to a party ingesting cocaine that was laced with fentanyl. 108,000 people, mostly young people, died that way last year just in America. And my request is simply to have an awareness that this open border we have to the south is a problem.
It's a problem.
Our lack of education about drug abuse is a problem. Increasingly normalizing drugs in our society as a way to avoid your life. That's by the way, my judgment.
Right.
We need to wake up. Speaking of waking up, we're busy with our businesses. We're busy with our families. I think we need to realize we have an emergency. It certainly has brought home for me. I can't tell you the number of friends who, learning of my son's death, then told me about a close family member that died from drug abuse in the last year. It's staggering number.
Wow, it's staggering.
Let's wake up. We can do something about this.
What's the name of the organization?
We're not announcing it because we don't want people. We don't. We're not looking for donations. And
I see. You just got it.
We're looking at other foundations and other educational outlets and organizations that already exist, and we'll just be funding them. That's what
Wow.
But that's just part of our commitment.
It is a big problem. It is a huge problem, Robert. It is a huge problem. And something that many people don't like talking about because we all want to fluff everything up and make everything look pretty and whatever. But it is a big problem, and especially among our youth. And so that's terrible, Robert. But thank you so much for not letting the show go without saying that. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you and your ex-wife's heart as well. Like to not even think that, I'm not pitching it for money. I'm pitching it for awareness, and I'm pitching it to try to save someone else's life and and the pain of the family of that someone else's life. So thank you so much for that, Robert. Man, see, I already said that I liked you a lot. Now you just sugar-coated the whole thing. There's no sugar added. I just really love you. I love your energy. Yeah.
Well, I love what you do, Neena, and that's why I'm here. I wish you every possible success and happiness.
Thank you. Likewise. Really, likewise. Guys, I told you that I find the best humans on the planet. And I knew that Robert was going to bring a whole bunch of wisdom and love and compassion and all of it. He exceeded my expectations. So please make sure that you follow him. I'm going to put his information below so that you can click on it. Go ahead, follow him. Like he said, he'll even jump on a 30-minute call for you, but come with a problem so that you guys can solve that problem. So make sure that you are going with intention, right? So make sure you like, share, subscribe with whoever hears this so that we can also spread the word of awareness that Robert dropped on us just at the very end here. I want to make sure that you utilize that to help someone else. That is what we're here for, is to grow, challenge, and transform our thinking and to impact the lives of others.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. You are the best. Okay. I have the best podcasting community ever. I really do. And I appreciate you guys being on here. Make sure you go on to winject.com/register, WINJECT. ject.com/register and register for my free community, because I want to be really connected with you, and I want us to brainstorm and be with each other and connect in a deeper way. If you are looking for coaching, please make sure that you also email me at hello@straighttalknosugaradded.com. I work with women and I help them develop that business that they are envisioning in their hearts so that they can win. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you, love you, love you. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time.
It's easy to lose sleep when you're worried about your health insurance plan. But when you have a family counting on you to take care of them, having the right coverage is more important than ever. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here to help. With low to no cost plans for you and your family, so you never go it alone. That's our Anthem. Click to learn more.